So my name is Sultan Sharif. That was my trailer for Bilal Stan. We're currently in the film festival circuit. It's a 16mm feature film. We started the film actually in 2006, and it's been sort of this work in progress. And we kept working on it essentially until we got into the Sundance Film Festival this past January. And so since then, we've just been going around hitting different film festivals, different things like that. We shot the film in Detroit. I went to the University of Michigan, studied film there, and then I started a youth program in Detroit where we work with high school students, teach them about the filmmaking process. And so this film is a product of that program, and then which we still run at a high school in Detroit. And then, and yeah, just kept working on it, editing it, changing it over the course of about 3 years, reshooting, made on a shoestring budget, and then finally got to Sundance, which was the first film festival that we were in. And then now we're just hitting the circuit sort of and hoping to get distribution as every other filmmaker is trying to do. So.
My name is Adrian Walker. I'm a writer-producer of The Art of Power. That will be coming out this summer. And like Sultan, we'll be hitting we're just putting our entries for all the film festivals right now. So wrapping that stuff up and hopefully looking for a good 2010. I'm originally from Lansing, Michigan. Went to the University of Michigan as well, and stayed here ever since. My background is actually in engineering, so it's interesting that I'm now doing this. But we put the film together. It's a very interesting, long story that I won't bore you with. But we shot half of it in DC, half of it here in Michigan, and it was a great experience.
I'm one half of Redwall Productions. My name is Roz Coleman, and this is my husband and partner, Craig Williams.
Yes, and we're actually based out of New York City. We have a short film that was going to play at 4 o'clock called BFF, Best Friends Forever. And, you know, they're really not, so that's the twist. Yes, we have a production company based out of New York, and we've done, I think, probably about 50 film projects of varying degrees, documentaries, a lot of short films that have played festivals all around the world. And we were here in November at the invitation of the Detroit Film Think Tank to run a screenwriting and filmmaking and acting seminar, because Miss Shai here is a Broadway film and television actor. Yes, see, I told you she's gonna shake her head at me. She's in Brooklyn's Finest, so you can go see that, and she's done a lot of work. You can IMDb her, and check her out on Facebook. Yes, I am her pimp and her husband. We're very excited to be back here in Detroit. So I guess, see, you handed me the microphone, that's what happens. So what should we talk about? Should we
talk about how you guys came up with the concept, what you deal with in terms of budget, where the kind of things at?
I would love to hear from, just watching the trailers made me very, very curious as to, what was that, a 4-year process of making a film? What are the challenges? I mean, and why did you keep going back? Was it because you didn't get to Sundance? Or were you getting notes from Sundance? I mean, like,
no, it wasn't finished. So we started, we did everything that they tell you not to do. We started the film with absolutely no money. It was the kind of thing, like, to be honest, I felt if I didn't make the movie, I would have just left and went to LA. I graduated from Michigan in 2006. All of the people I graduated with, outside of 2 people, are now in LA, New York, or Chicago, or Austin now, and Portland. And so we wanted to stay in Michigan, and we wanted to keep doing film. This was 2 years before the film incentive passed, and so there weren't a lot of people shooting feature films, local filmmakers. And so I had the opportunity to shoot a feature before that called The Spiral Project, a 35mm feature, through a random connection. A friend of mine, his mom was dating Woody Allen's agent psychiatrist. And so we rolled off of that experience, but it was, we learned how to make a movie essentially. And so I was like, it would be great if we could, yeah, I know, right? It would be great if we could, we could shoot a movie in Detroit about a high school student in Detroit and sort of those experiences, and then involve people in the process. So we actually started this program, and then we got enough money to rent our grip truck for 2 weeks and to buy a film. And then everything else, we were like, we'll have to get it by the time that day comes that we need it. And so we just wheeled and dealed and hustled. And then it was, I'm big into social entrepreneurship, and so we would find ways to subsidize the budget by involving the community and engaging the community. So for example, I taught my students how to give a business pitch. And then their test for that assignment was to go out and give a business pitch to try to get us food for the film. And so we didn't have any money. And so they were successful. So we ended up we had a 4-week shoot, and we got 3 weeks of the shoot covered, all donated food. And so our catering budget, we only had to pay for the final week, and we just ordered pizzas. And so for 30 people for 4 weeks, we paid like $1,200 for food. And so then we involved WJLB, the radio station. We put Dr. Darius, one of the DJs, we put him in the movie so that he would promote the film, and then he would bring our kids onto the radio station every once a week, and then they would give shout outs to all the people who donated things. And so we just basically found we took the sort of 6 degrees of separation rule, and so if you work with enough people, those people will know enough people to get you what you want. And so we needed a coffin for a scene, and somebody's uncle worked in Midland, and he had a funeral home, so he drove down with the coffin and gave it to us, and then somebody else knew somebody who had worked at a flower shop, and they had some leftover funeral arrangements. And so basically every element of the filmmaking process, instead of approaching it like this is a budget line item, and we're gonna just find the money to pay for that item, because being broken in Detroit, if you just wait for somebody to come give you money, you'd be waiting forever. So we're just like, hey, what is a creative way that we could get this thing without having to pay that money? And so it was basically 4 years of that. And then I stopped and gave up several times, and then after a while I would be inspired, and then, yeah, it's a sob story. And it's ironic because it's actually what the movie is about. It's about a high school student trying to get to Detroit, trying to get to college, and he wants to go to U of M, and you have all these people, and it's based on my life and my family's life, and you have all these people telling you, you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna, just stop, go do something easier, do this, do that. And so when I was going through that, and that's what was happening in the film, it just would constantly inspire me to keep going. And we actually never submitted to anything until I was like, I'm not submitting until I feel like the film is ready. And so we didn't submit to any film festivals until we submitted to Sundance.
Cool.
4 years later. The next step, we're going to MoMA, and the Museum of Modern Art in New York. They have this thing called New Directors, New Films. It's a fairly prestigious film festival, so I'm there in March 24th. Then off the record, because we're not supposed to announce it yet, we're in the Seattle Film Festival in late May, and then we just applied to the Cannes Film Festival, so hopefully we get in there. And so then we're going to organize a distribution campaign, basically similar to how we made the movie, sort of like an Obama-esque campaign, because the film is about education. It's really about finding creative ways to educate young people and to give them access and opportunities. And so we're going to try to get people from around the country who are interested in those sort of outreach efforts to take a stand, which is our slogan, and then support the film so that money that we make can go to support other programs and art programs in inner city schools.
Adrian, what's your path here, and what's your film about?
The film is basically about three young people in the city of DC, and you start the movie out at the end where the lead character gets arrested for murder. And it's one of these stories where it's told non-chronologically, and you start to find out how the 3 main characters interweave. And like Sultan, I wanted to, when we wrote the film, and there was so much going on when I was writing the film, and DC was such an electric place when I wrote this film last year, and everything was going on. So there's a lot of undertones for what I felt at the time everyone was going through. I said, this is kind of a political thriller, a suspense thriller, with this really oddball character, and how can people relate to him? And we wrote everything that we heard our family, our friends talking about, the whole medical, the medical situation, Medicare bills. There's underlying, this character lives in an environment where he feels like he's above average intelligence and is just very suppressed by everything around him. So there's, he kind of snaps in the movie. If you guys have ever seen Taxi Driver, it's kind of one of those instances. And so you find out how he's intertwined with politicians, with the other 2 lead female characters, and how their stories all kind of come to a head at the end, and kind of what happens when this character feels like a lot of his needs and situations aren't being met.
So you were talking earlier about your shoot schedule, and being an engineer background, having a real day job as opposed to the rest of us.